In 2023, the Feeding America Network provided more than 4.9 billion meals, almost 5 billion meals, to tens of millions of people. And now the funding that provided those meals to people in need could be in jeopardy. Today, we talked to local and regional food banks facing reduced supplies due to USDA funding cuts. We also have how these cuts are impacting food distribution in Ohio and Michigan, plus how farmers are losing sales as the USDA slashes additional programs. USDA cuts is our big story today. A recent Feeding America Food Bank survey finds 80% of responding food banks were reporting either an increase or a steady demand for emergency food services. That means more U.S. households are facing food insecurity at some point and turning to hunger relief programs for help. These food insecure households are described as being unable to acquire enough food to meet the needs of all their household members, and that's due to not having enough money or other resources stopping them from getting food. 2023 data from the Household Pulse survey shows Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Tennessee have the highest rates of food insecurity. About 14% of Ohio is considered to be food insecure in 2022. Here you can see a map of Ohio showing food insecurity across the state. The darker green that a county means the more food insecurity that's happening there. And in Northwest Ohio, Lucas County has the highest food insecurity rate at 15.8%. That represents more than 67,000 people. It's followed by Sandusky County at 15.2% and Huron County at 14.9%. As the need for food rises, food banks across the country are reporting they will have less food to distribute. It comes as the USDA faces federal funding cuts and pauses by the Trump administration. 13 Action News reporter Ethan Watts visited one local food bank to see how it is affected.
And those effects are being felt right here at home. At the Seagate Food Bank yesterday, they received a heartbreaking message.
Mindy Rapp, the executive director, received an email stating that requisition/redistribution documents were changed, meaning that orders that were on their way to the food bank had been redirected. She soon found out that orders that had been approved by the state distributing agency had been canceled. 19 truckloads canceled. More than $655,000 worth of food canceled. Rapp believes the cancellations are tied to funds being cut in relation to the emergency food assistance programs nationwide.
And the sad part is all of these loads were protein, so meat and dairy, fresh milk, fresh eggs, all of those things that people can't afford right now.
Mindy tells me donations from community members have always been important and really do help them with their mission. But right now, with these cuts, with the future unknown, they are vital to the success of this nonprofit. Guys?
Ethan Watts reporting for us. Food banks in Cleveland also closely monitoring recent developments regarding their USDA Commodity Credit Corporation food orders. This comes after the Greater Cleveland Food Bank says more than half of the 30 loads of food right now on order were canceled today. That's nearly $1 million worth of food. The food bank says that canceled order was supposed to provide more than 550,000 pounds of food between April and July. And it says this is a critical time as consumers continue to pay more for everything, especially more for food. Funding for Ohio food programs is also getting reduced by almost 25% in the proposed state budget. These programs buy food for distribution by food banks across the state, including food that's purchased from Ohio farmers. There's still a possibility in the state of Ohio House and Senate to get that funding restored. Lawmakers have until June 30th to pass the budget. Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced it is cutting 2 federal programs that provide funding for both schools and food banks to buy food from local farmers. And once the programs are suspended, $1 billion of federal funds will also end. Griffin Weinberg explains the long and the short-term effects of these recent cuts.
Feeding America West Michigan will lose about 400,000 meals due to the stoppage of the Emergency Food Assistance Program.
We were expecting about 27 truckloads of food between now and July from that particular program, and we've been told that those are not coming.
For Feeding America's mobile food pantries, this means using its own funds to buy food or relying on larger donations. The Salvation Army of Marquette says it uses very minimal federal funding, but a 12% increase in usage in just the last 3 months has its director of development calling for local help.
Because of that increase, and then you double that increase in the food costs, you know, every food pantry up, even aside from the federal funding, needs local help.
The USDA cut about $420 million from the Local Food Purchase Agreement, which supports smaller local farms. Estelle has been frustrated with communication from the top down about that.
We were told in late February that it was no longer going to be reimbursed. That program actually just this past week got reinstated. So now that program goes through September 30 of this year.
Yoopers always find a way to rally together when the time calls, whether it's during COVID, a very bad snowstorm, or just helping Sally down the street bring her groceries inside. Should federal funding restrict the ability to help feed those that need a fresh meal, Carrie Detmers believes that Yoopers will come together once again.
Yoopers will rally. We did during COVID. We did it after COVID when the recession was coming and everyone's food costs are going up. This community will weather that federal flux way, way, way better than some other communities, I would know.
Detmers thinks everyone buying an extra $50 worth of groceries to drop off at a pantry of their choice could go a long way to helping feed someone.